Bring it back from the top, ladies and gentlemen.
Rosenberg.
Eddie Brock's in the building. This that real talk, real music, man.
My relationship with Toronto is a wonderful relationship. One that I've had for as long as I've had a relationship with anywhere except for DC, really. I mean, and New York. I started coming here when I was like 17, 18. I used to come here all the time up until, you know, my early 20s, and now I just come back. Now, even since then, it's just been the place where me and my people have played the most regularly. So, like, I feel very at home here. I love Toronto.
What about New York?
Even though New York's not in its heyday, although I think it's improving, it may not be in its best time, but it always feels inherently hip-hop because it's just the birthplace. It always feels that way. So I love New York.
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan of the Relay with Peter Rosenberg, and I've been listening to the Cypher Sound shows, and I just got to ask this. This is a question I've been thinking about, is what is your relationship with Wolf Blitzer?
My lord, that is a random question. My relationship with Wolf Blitzer also goes back a long time. He's a good family friend. My dad and Wolf Blitzer went to Israel together in like 1968 or something like that. So my dad's been friends with Wolf for 40 years or so. So yeah, 60, yeah, like 40 years. So I've known him for a long, long time. He's cool. He's a good dude. And like, I mean, just the level that he's at in terms of doing news, you know what I mean? Like, when you write the journalistic history of the world, you know, there's an era of since like the Gulf War through now where, you know, he's a major face of broadcasting some of the biggest stories ever. And I think he does, I think he's pretty good at being objective generally.
Do you see him leaning anyway politically, or?
I know that there are people on the right who probably think he's like the most left-wing, terrible person in the world, and I know there are people on the left who think that he leans way too right. So, in that, I would think that means he's doing probably a pretty good job being even. I don't feel that way about everyone, but I feel like Wolf's pretty even. Maybe the rarest kind of talent that cannot be overstated. You know, I don't think there's any way to overrate Michael Jackson. And you know, the level of pure joy that this guy brought to the world musically is unrivaled. You know, people can mention all the negative stuff, none of which is really clear how much of it's true. It is over for there ever being anyone like him again. You know, I don't think there could ever be anyone, you know, there will be someone who's better than Michael Jordan one day. I don't think there'll ever be anyone who eclipses Michael Jackson in fame and what he did to people who, you know, who loved his music.
Past cosigns, a lot of them have been playing.
I never plan on co-signing anyone. You know, you sort of meet people, and if you love their music, you get passionate about it. And I became friends with Asher Roth because of we really became friends over sports. Like, we both are really into sports. And I started listening to his music around when I met him, and then really heard like a real raw talent in him. You know, for a kid who hasn't been doing it that long. And then on top of that, he gained such notoriety so quickly that I really think Asher's in a position to do awesome things for hip-hop. So I'm proud of that co-sign. I'm proud of what Asher's done, and I think we're working on something right now that the underground hip-hop world is going to be very excited about, and I think people will really see what Asher's like true intentions are in the game. And then there are a couple other kids I really fuck with, like Folk and Stress, who are a couple of white kids out of Long Island. And they're just dope, man. My friend Dro introduced me to them, and I was like, oh, not more white kids. And they're awesome, man. Like, Folk produces, you know, producer, they're both LMCs, they're both like real hardcore, like early 90s feeling kind of hip hop. Like, those kids are really dope. And then I met, and then I sort of just fell into a Canadian Colin Monroe's music. And Colin Monroe's dope because like he just doesn't fit in any sort of box. He just sort of makes dope music and really soulful stuff and stuff with Black Milk and a joint over a Dilla beat. Like, he just won me over out of the gate, and he's really talented. But I think my white roster is currently full. But for the record, the artists that I co-sign the hardest in life, that I've been co-signing for since the dawn of time, are my crew, Low Budget. of which I'm the only white member. So shout out to Odyssey, who's unbelievable. Kev Brown, Ken Starr, Camber, Roddy Rod, Critically Acclaimed, Martial Law, IQ. And next up, I'm actually gonna be putting out a project. My first music project that I'm gonna put out is hopefully gonna be out in the late summer, and it's by a guy in the crew named Sean Bourne. He's one of the most, he spent a lot of time in Toronto as well. One of the illest, most fucking lyrical street rappers you'll ever hear. Kev Brown on the production. Odyssey might be the best producing MC in the game, and one of the best at it, dare I say, ever. Odyssey's one of the best producing MCs ever. He's disgusting. So, shout out to Low Budget. I'm very fortunate and very thankful to hip hop. What up, ladies? Girls in Toronto. Hello. Hip hop's been very good to me, and Hot 97's been very good to me, and I'm just happy to have a job. I get paid. Hey, what's up, guys? I do have a job. Oh, they don't have jobs. No, I'm real fortunate, you know, just in hip hop getting to live off of what you love is great. Beyond great. I wouldn't know what else to do. I have no skill set to speak of outside of hip hop. My skill set within hip hop is still in question. So I'm just happy that Hot 97, and I'm happy that hip hop's honestly embraced me. I mean, when you grow up like a white kid from the burbs, like dreaming of being in hip hop, you don't know if you're going to be embraced and people are going to mess with you. I thought you guys aren't going in?
Somewhere else.
Come on.
We gotta meet our boys.
Gotta meet their boys. Yo, RosenbergRadio.com, #1, my blog that I sometimes update frequently and sometimes not so frequently, but is the home of all my videos, etc. And Hot97.com, where you can listen to the show live every day. Cypher Sounds in Rosenberg, 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. every day. Real late Sunday nights, midnight to 2. Juan Epstein podcast, of course, on RosenbergRadio.com. And that's it, man. Twitter, Rosenberg Radio, MySpace, Facebook. Everywhere that you could possibly find someone in this era. I'm heavy on YouTube, search for my name, and that's it.